Hello, Scorpio. I am Poetic Heretic, and this is your July 2017 tarot forecast. Do remember, you can use these videos for your sun, rising, and moon signs. So, let us now begin. We would like a Celtic cross forecast for the sign of Scorpio for July 2017. What does the universe have in store for Scorpio? Well, the cards are locked already. Okay. Your outside influences, the Six of Wands reversed, the challenge, the Tower reversed, the underlying energy, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, it looks like things are happening with you guys. I can say right off the bat so far. When the Wheel of Fortune shows up, it's almost a sure sign that things are changing, things are in motion. And when the Tower shows up, of course it did show up as the challenge card and it came up reversed. Well, it's talking about a sudden intense change, but when it's reversed, it's like not necessarily such a sudden intense change. It could be the avoidance of a disaster or like narrowly averting a disaster. But depending on what other cards we get, it could go perhaps a couple of different ways. So let's see what else we have first. For the past, you have the Page of Cups, what you hope to achieve, the Seven of Swords reversed, the near future, the Queen of Cups, your attitude or position, the Six of Cups, the outside force coming in, Strength reversed, hopes or fears, the Hierophant reversed, and the outcome, death. Alright, wow, some powerful energy here for you guys this month. Wow. And the death card, of course, is ruled by your sign, Scorpio. So let's dig right into this. So you're beginning with the Six of Wands reversed. This represents your current outside influences right around the beginning of the month. And this card does talk about a certain fear of being in the limelight, fear of public attention, a certain blockage, difficulty in moving forward, difficulty in making progress. It may even be a sort of overlooking of details that may be important, so watch out for that. But more than anything, it appears to be a certain stagnation, but not one that is exactly likely to last for very long, with some of these other cards that we have here. Like, let me just see. Because things are changing, that's for sure. But at the beginning of the month, it's like you're either afraid of this change or things just feel kind of stuck, or it could be, again on a different note, overlooking important details and stuff like that, things feeling out of order, and maybe this card also, of course, can be a fear of public attention, a fear of being in the center of attention. So that sort of energy reflects your outside influences around the beginning of the month. So for the challenge, again, we have the Tower reversed. So from what we're seeing here, it's like this card is saying that the challenge for you this month will be the avoidance of a disaster. So, with all of the changes taking place, it could be a bit of a challenge to move with that energy. With all of the, with everything that's happening, it might feel like the established order is just collapsing, and so you'll want to do the best you can to, as cliche as it sounds, go with the flow. That will be to your advantage. Now, let's see what else. The Tower reverse can also be the avoidance of a confrontation, so that might be another challenge, dealing with other people this month, trying to avoid confrontations or difficult arguments or whatever. There may be some cases where that just can't be avoided, but that will depend on your unique situation. So I'm seeing here, like with the Seven of Swords reverse coming up, that you're wanting things to be more peaceful, and from what we're seeing here, Queen of Cups, Six of Cups, looks like they're going to be peaceful, but then we see some more complicated energy. So this is, like many spreads, one with various ups and downs in it. So there's that. Let's see, is there anything else before we move on with the Tower card here? Well, it's almost like this card also has a vibe of repressed anger, or trouble beneath the surface and stuff like that. So that just might be an issue as well, and if that's the case, it might be better to like bring that out, or in some way embrace the catharsis of that. And that might even be why you have the Tower card here, which normally talks about a sudden, intense change or outburst or something like that. Like the energy has been building and building and building beneath the surface, and then eventually there's like a bolt of lightning, as we see in the card, as the energy is released. So there might be that sort of a thing going on. So again, which of that it is going to depend on you and your unique situation. So I would say whatever resonates, take that advice to heart. For the underlying energy, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So another card talking about change. Now, this is everything forming the foundation of your current situation. And so, see, I love how this ties right into the Tower card here, because with this being the foundation, things changing, well, it's almost like you're saying you're not standing on solid ground. However, that's not really a negative thing, because the Wheel of Fortune, when upright, is usually a pretty positive card, and it talks about good luck and good fortune, positive developments, positive happenings. It talks about changes, life cycles, destiny, karma, the circle of life, or the cycle of life. With it being a 10, it talks about the completion of one cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. It can also talk about the manifestation of something, perhaps even a major life event. Now, with this forming the foundation of things, again, think of it in that way. It's like the energy of this month is being built upon what the Wheel of Fortune represents here. So whether it's a manifestation or a great change in your life or whatever, that is like leading to everything else that we're seeing. And going right along with that is the past and issues you've had to deal with. This also leads more or less to everything else that we're seeing. And of course you have the Page of Cups for this. So normally the Page of Cups is a very positive card, but it is falling in the position of the issues that you've had to deal with. Well, these could be issues around a new lover or romance, around creativity, creative beginnings. The idea of synchronicity, the idea of idealism, inspiration, adventurousness, a sort of creative curiosity. Um, so it could even be, like, I almost hesitate to say this because I don't know how often it's really the case, but um, sometimes I'll say, well, when we have a really positive card showing up in the past, it might not even be so much that you've dealt with like issues, like problems recently, but this is just what's been going on with you in the recent or not so recent past, and it has led to the current situation. So that's what we're seeing in the past, and I think it's interesting that you guys got the Page of Cups in the past and then the Queen of Cups in the future. The past and the future do tend to reflect one another. And so, if perhaps you like began a new relationship or started a new creative endeavor, something like that, you may see that sort of recur in the near future of this month. You may see the continuation of that with the Queen of Cups here, especially when the Page of Cups talks about the beginning of the energy. You know, it's youthful energy. Like when this card is referring to a person, it's usually a child, and then the Queen of Cups talks about the maturing of that energy. Um, and of course, this card, when referring to a person, usually refers to an adult. So you're quite possibly seeing the evolution of what began recently, or even maybe not so recently, this month. The evolution of the relationship or the creative endeavor, the project, whatever it happens to be. So, yeah, again, it's like it might not even really be, in your case, this month anyway, something that was so much a problem as just what has happened in the past. Because the Page of Cups is, at least in my view anyway, like almost always a positive card when upright. So, for what you hope to achieve this month, you have the Seven of Swords reversed. Now, this card, when reversed, is usually quite good, quite positive. It's talking about things being back to normal, no more arguments or conflict, talking about going with the flow more, talking about more harmony in relationships, especially with it being a 7, and more balance. And I think if there's anything else to mention with this, because it's pretty simple, you know, just things being back to normal, less arguments and stuff like that, like just getting along more with people, wanting more peace and whatnot. I think it's about that simple for here. I'm not really seeing anything else that's gonna, or anything deeper in that at the moment as I look at the other cards and the way that it connects. So that's what you're focused upon this month, is a sort of return to peace, getting things back to normal. And well, one thing that of course could be connected to is if these changes feel like a bit too much at once, that we already went over, well, you might want things to feel stable again. For the near future, again, we have the Queen of Cups, and she is talking about, in addition to what we already went over, the energy of emotional harmony and a sense of warmth and friendliness, support, nurturing, being assisting and caring and loving and helpful. So you're seeing that kind of energy in the near future. This might even be a person who is very assisting and loving and helpful to you and stuff like that. Um, this could be a time of emotional balance, or maybe even a time where you, Scorpio, are helping someone else in need, someone who needs your help, and you're doing it from a very loving basis, while at the same time, as we see with the Queen of Cups, still keeping yourself on some solid ground, which represents stability, so that you're not um, so that you're not vulnerable to the other person's issues. And then the water in the card representing the emotion, the experiences of the person that you're helping, as well as just emotion in general. So, a few possibilities with this card. Um, it's a very spiritual sort of card, like spiritual, emotional, that sort of thing. And let's see here. I mean, in a negative sense, sometimes it can talk about being a little too emotional, a little too gullible or naive, impractical, irrational, little too subjective, not seeing clearly, seeing with the emotions and stuff like that. So don't let yourself slip into that if you feel like that might happen. But usually, when this card's upright, especially, it's a positive card. So that's probably what we're looking at here. Just maintain your emotional balance as these changes and other developments happen, perhaps. For your attitude or position on the situation about halfway through the month, you have the Six of Cups. So, this is the second six. Earlier we had the Six of Wands, and so that's Virgoan energy. That's talking about things like your health and your day-to-day activities. Well, the Six of Cups is talking about a sort of new interest developing. You're feeling new interest in one or more areas of your life. This can often talk about also dating and attraction and romance and sexual exchange and the early stages of a relationship. It can talk about creativity, a new creative endeavor developing. And with what we've already seen with the Page of Cups, like from the Page of Cups to the Queen of Cups to now the Six of Cups, it's like there is either a new relationship that a lot of you are really interested in, or a new creative endeavor, or some new like energy of creativity, like something new that's interesting you and is a lot of fun and makes your daily experience, your day-to-day activities that much more interesting and exciting and enjoyable and stuff like that. Probably it's going to be all of that, and for some of you it's going to be one, for others it's going to be another. But we are definitely seeing that kind of almost like sweet and loving energy, but also like very creative and exciting and interesting energy. Sometimes this can talk about being a little too focused on the trivialities of life, a little too interested in things that don't matter, and the double sixes here, like with the Six of Wands, that might be a bit of a risk, but no, chances are this is talking about a new interest in a relationship or creativity, something like that. So most likely you're going to be feeling very good, especially around halfway through the month. For the outside force coming in, you have Strength reversed. Well, unfortunately, this card, when reversed, is usually talking about things like weakness, cowardice, not having enough energy, fatigue, loss of stamina, a lack of endurance. It can be a hatred of the external world, or extroversion, or superficiality. It can be like a dislike of romantic developments and stuff like that. But of course, the interesting thing is this is something outside of you coming at you. So you're feeling good, but someone around you, well, it could be a person or maybe a situation develops, is like representative of the opposite energy of that. And somehow it is still coming at you. You are more or less a vibrational match to that, nevertheless, somehow. So it appears there's something active within you that is drawing this in, this sort of energy of weakness or tiredness, fatigue, or being afraid, and stuff like that. So if you feel like you've had any issues around that, maybe there was a relationship in the past or some new beginning that did not go well, you might want to try to clear those up within yourself so that you don't attract more of that, more or less. Now let's see, what else do we have here? And just keep in mind also that this could be like an event that you want to steer clear from. That would have to do with trying to make you feel weak or powerless, or like someone trying to take advantage of you or something like that. So, just trust your intuition. Queen of Cups also talks about that, and don't let that happen. The Strength card also advises you to have strength, to have a sense of victory, and victory over adversity, and fortitude during difficult times, I almost want to say, and a sense of optimism, and loving life, enjoying life, stuff like that. This card is ruled by Leo, which is a sign of being bold and, ruled by the sun, enjoying life, enjoying the excitement of life and stuff like that, being associated with the season of summer, which, interestingly enough, later this month, we move into Leo season right around the time that this card is likely taking effect. So it's interesting that it fell there. And one more thing to go over with it before we move on is that it is an 8, which of course refers to your sign of Scorpio, even though it's ruled by Leo. And then the Death card over here is also a Scorpio card, being, in this case, ruled by Scorpio. So you've got the energy of your own sign of Scorpio, that life and death, death and rebirth sort of energy going on significantly this month, especially later in the month. For your hopes or fears, you have the Hierophant reversed. This card, when reversed, talks about an interruption in the status quo, rebellion, doing things differently. And so again, we have this idea of a sort of chaos, or like some intense developments, some sudden collapse of things, or the change of, or the collapse of the established order and stuff like that. We have yet another indicator of that here. Now, this showing up in hopes or fears, it's like on one hand, it could be because you're hoping that things don't get too crazy and out of order. Remember what we saw back here earlier with the Seven of Swords reversed. You're hoping that things get back to normal. But at the same time, a lot of these changes, as we see with the Wheel of Fortune, are likely good in the Six of Cups here. They're likely changes that you want to happen. So it could be more that you're, or it could be also, I should say, that you're hoping that there are interruptions in the status quo and that things do change and that the order is interrupted, because a lot of these changes are good. But at the same time, it's like you're saying that you want positive change, but you don't want chaos and confusion. If there's chaos and confusion, then you just want things to be back to normal, is what you're saying. So, again, it's all about balance, and that might be another reason that the Queen of Cups showed up, to remind you of the importance of balance in these matters. So, that's essentially the energy that I'm seeing here. For the outcome, you have the Death card. So when this card is upright, it's usually quite positive, in my opinion. It's talking about the energy of death and rebirth, catharsis, destruction, but in a positive sense, deconstruction, transformation, regeneration. It can talk about deep emotional healing and lasting emotional change. And a sort of bringing things up from the depths of the subconscious mind and dealing with them or processing them, a sort of cleansing, detoxification, purgation, purification, release, a letting go of pain, a letting go of the things that have plagued you, and a sort of transmuting, perhaps, of that negative energy into positive energy. And so again, we're seeing the death of what once was to make way for the new life, the new changes and developments. And that is the natural cycle of things. As the Wheel of Fortune talks about, the cycles of life. There has to be death and deconstruction, as we see also with the Tower, in order for there to be new life, something new. Like you can't have something new if you don't make room for it by getting rid of the old. And so that's the kind of energy we're seeing here. That's the energy of your sign as well, again, Scorpio, as you probably know. So you should be very, very good at embracing this and kind of going with the energy this month. I mean, we are really, really, really seeing a lot of indicators of things changing, but in a very mostly positive way. Maybe some craziness involved, but mostly a positive way. And as long as you go with it as best you can, it looks like even if it's a bit crazy, it's going to turn out quite well. So, there you go, Scorpio. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great month indeed. This has been a tarot forecast for the sign of Scorpio for the month of July 2017 from Poetic Heretic. Don't forget to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.